This week was a super choppy week with some new all-time highs, plenty of lows, and much more, so let's get straight into it. We started this week with DeepSeek wrecking the USAI stocks and causing our ASML shares to slide before earnings. We then had earnings from Apple, Microsoft, and ASML. I sold off a company in the portfolio completely, and next week we have earnings on Google and Amazon. Starting off Monday, we had the DeepSeek sell-off, which resulted in several U.S. large AI companies to slide in price by more than 5% on claims that their DeepSeek V3 AI models were developed on just $6 million, which is pocket change in comparison to U.S. models. For example, we had Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, come out and say that the ChatGPT-4 model was more than $100 million, which would be terrible news for U.S. tech investors. The more I look into these claims, the more I find them hard to believe. Personally, I'm not buying the news that DeepSeek V3 model is all that worthwhile. While very impressive, it barely beats GPT-4 models that were made in May of last year, and a lot of their claims are being debunked. Semi-Analysis released a great article going over a lot of these claims and a lot of the spending stuff as well. They came out stating that the $6 million training cost of DeepSeek V3 is wrong, and that it pointed to a specific part of a bill of materials for a product and attributing it as the entire cost. They also had the claim that the pre-training number is nowhere near the actual amount spent on the model, and that they are confident that the hardware spend is well higher than $500 million over the company's history. And if we look, the stock market did have a sell-off, but it recovered relatively quickly and had a separate dip at the end of the week. I don't think DeepSeek's going away forever, just for now. Next up, we had earnings from Apple, Microsoft, and ASML. I'm going to keep it simple on ASML and Apple, as they both had good earnings, ASML doubling booking expectations, and Apple with sales up all around except for the 1% fall in iPhone sales. If you want to hear more, look at my other videos that I released earlier in the week on these two. Next up, we had Microsoft, which took a hard dip after earnings. Had a disappointing revenue forecast. The company provided a cautious revenue outlook for the upcoming quarter, which fell short of analyst expectations. They announced slowing Azure growth as company's Microsoft cloud computing business decelerated, with revenue increasing by 31%, down from 33% in the previous quarter. And then they also had increased CapEx, where the company reported a significant rise in CapEx spending, primarily due to substantial investments in artificial intelligence infrastructure. And right now, I do believe Microsoft's at a good buy price. I did hop in on an option where I believe I might have gotten a tad bit too early, but I'm still very optimistic on the coming month, as I feel like this was an over sell-off on the Microsoft end, and I don't really feel like Microsoft is that bad of a business, nor do I think that these results will necessarily impact their business that negatively over time. As well, I do also want to go ahead and state I did sell off my position in Apple up somewhere around 9 to 10%, and we took a $200 gain on the position. I did state in my previous video that I felt like Apple was a little bit too expensive for what I was wanting, and that they were very pumped up after earnings, and I kind of just wanted to get out of the play. A major factor for me wanting to get out of the play is that we have earnings upcoming on Amazon and Google. Both massive positions in the portfolio already, but I wouldn't mind allocate a little bit more money to both of those positions. I personally expect both of them to announce good numbers, and I'm waiting till Monday morning to see if I can manage to buy a dip and get in on either one. Next up, we have our biggest winners and losers of the week. Starting off with Apple as a winner, locking in a 10% gain. ASML with a 7% recovery, still in that position. And then we had a Google options play, and the shares are up relatively well. And our biggest losers going to Microsoft, and I had an absolutely terrible options play on SPX where I set a stop loss and managed to hit the stop loss and then proceeded to go up over $3,000, which is kind of funny. I did end up losing $500 in that play, and that did wipe most of our gains on the week. Overall, the portfolio gained $318 in value, with $200 coming from deposits and $118 coming from profits. Which doesn't sound like much, but if you take into account that the S&P 500 lost 1% this week, we're still beating the market and adding value into our portfolio, which I can't hate on. And wrapping up this week, that brings our portfolio balance to $42,590. And if you did enjoy the video or find any of the information useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe for a donut. See you in the next one. Peace out.